and welcome back to my channel. Tougher measures have been announced for travelers to the UK from the 15th of February 2021. All passengers must show proof of a negative test in the 3 days before departure. They must also complete a passenger locator form in 2 days before arriving in the UK. Carriers must check both of these for every passenger before they board the plane. Passengers are checked again by frontline airport staff and border force upon arrival. Passengers arriving without a completed passenger locator form and negative test face a fine of £500 and the airline faces a fine of £2,000. If they have been in the red listed countries in the past 10 days, they will be denied entry to the UK unless they have a residency right. All passengers must then self-isolate and place at the place they are staying for 10 days after they arrive in the UK. It has been announced that there are spot checks to make sure people are self-isolating and they may be referred for police action, including a fine up to £10,000. There are increased checks for those self-isolating, and the police at ports and at airports are increased. Government introduces tougher measures and enforcement rules for quarantined passengers. New enforcement measures and fixed penalty notices to imprisonment will come in force on Monday, 15th February. Heavy financial penalties and potential jail time for non-compliance. All passengers traveling to England to take mandated COVID tests on the 2nd and the 8th day of quarantine. Those who have been to a red listed country are required to purchase quarantine package covering hotel and testing. 16 hotels have been contracted so far for an initial 4,600 rooms. These enforcements, from fixed penalty notices to imprisonment, have been introduced as the Health and Social Secretary set out details of the government's new quarantine measures. Under these changes announced from February 15th, all arrivals at English ports will be required to undertake 2 mandatory COVID tests on the 2nd day and on the 8th day of their 10-day quarantine. The new measures will build on these already in place, which include refusing entry for non-UK residents from red list countries. Passengers, no matter the country traveling from, are required to provide proof of negative COVID test taken no more than 3 days before departure and must self-isolate on arrival. The passenger locator form must be filled, and also fines are available for those who fail to comply. From Monday, anyone arriving who has been in a country on the UK's travel ban list in the previous 10 days will be required to purchase a quarantine package. Bookings will be made through a dedicated online portal and will include assigned government transportation, food and drinks, accommodation in government-approved facilities, security, welfare and testing. A charge for a single adult will be less than £1,750. To ensure compliance, fines will be issued and will range from £5,000 rising to £10,000 for arrivals who fail to quarantine in a designated hotel. £1,000 penalty will also be given to any international arrival who fails to take a mandatory test, followed by a £2,000 penalty to any international arrival who fails to take the second mandatory test. This will be accompanied by an automatic extension of the quarantine period to 14 days. Passenger locator forms will now be not only detail their travel journey but also their quarantine and testing package. Anyone attempting to conceal that they have traveled to a red list country on their form could face up to £10,000 in fine or prosecution and up to 10 years in prison. The Health and Social Secretary said, "Our fight against the virus has many fronts, and just as we're attacking this virus through our vaccination program, which is protecting more people every day, we are strengthening our defenses through this vital measure so we can protect the progress that we have worked so hard to accomplish. The compliance and enforcement regime is end-to-end, and all passengers should expect to be checked at the various points throughout their journey, such as by carriers at the time of departure, by airport staff throughout their journey, by border force officers on arrival, spot checks by police, where appropriate for those quarantined at home." Government has been working closely with aviation industry and country's major airports, including Heathrow, Gatwick, Birmingham, to designate arrival ports. These airports account for the vast majority of international arrivals to England and will also allow for close monitoring. Anyone arriving at a non-designated port who has visited a red list country will receive a fixed penalty notice and still be required to quarantine in a managed quarantine facility. Government has so far contracted 16 hotels with 4,600 rooms, and more will be secured as needed. There will be security present throughout, with personnel directing travelers on arrival. In transit and on arrival at the managed quarantine facilities, security will be present to ensure passengers remain at their facility, and when necessary, police will be called upon to provide additional support. Any passenger traveling back to England from countries not on the travel ban list will be required to quarantine at home for the same period of 10 days and abide by the same stringent testing regimen. In both cases, tests must be booked from a list of government-approved test providers. Tests to release will continue to be in operation. However, arrivals will still be required to purchase the 2 testing package. Guidelines for travelers will be published on government.uk and booking portals will go live on Thursday. In summary, passengers must show proof of a negative test in the 3 days before departure. They must also complete the passenger locator form in the 2 days before arriving in the UK. Carriers must check both of these for every passenger before they board the plane. Passengers are then checked again by the frontline airport staff and border force upon arrival. Passengers arriving without a completed form or negative test face a fine of up to £500, and the airline faces a fine of up to £2,000. If they have been to the red listed countries in the last 10 days, they will be denied entry into the UK unless they have residency rights. All passengers must then self-isolate at the place they are staying for 10 days after they arrive. They will have enhanced spot checks to make sure people are self-isolating, and they may be referred for police action, including a fine of up to £10,000. There is also increased checks for those self-isolating and by police at ports and airports. And that's it for me from updates for travels and immigration to the UK. If you have any questions you ask, I'll do my best to answer. Do like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in my next one. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.